Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about genotype effect on marriage. Now we'll be using Untouchable story and Pressure the fruit seller as a as a point of this topic today. So now we're talking about genotype. What do you know about genotype? What happens if you marry someone whose genotype is incompatible? Genetics may play a role. Couples report greater marital satisfaction when at least one spouse has a genetic variation known as the GG genotype within the oxytocin gene receptor. Meanwhile, I am not a health specialist, neither am I a nurse. This is just my own point of view. So the problem to avoid with genotype compatibility for intending couples is the sickle cell disease that we all know. So a recessive disorder, a very serious medical condition with high prevalence rates. How are we going to avoid this in marriage? Knowing too well that Pressure the fruit seller and Untouchable stories are battling because of this. We don't know if this is their way of content creating or if it is real. Because all these content creators, they can do anything, they can go extra mile just to make money on Facebook. So for me, I am thinking that they're just doing this just for content purposes. And because I believe that before Untouchable got engaged to Pressure the fruit seller, maybe they might have gone for genotype to know if they are compatible or not. So now, what you, as a young girl, as a young guy that intended to marry today, or you are about to venture into marriage, that you've not known your genotype, is expected to do is to, first of all, before you start having any sexual immorality, unprotected sex with that person you intended to marry, make sure that you are an AA genotype person. If you are not sure of if your genotype is AA, or you know that your genotype is AS, and you don't know your spouse or your intended person you want to get married to genotype, it's expected of you to run, that both of you should go to hospital, check your genotype to avoid bringing a child into this world and suffer that child. Would you prefer taking your child from hospital to hospital, changing blood, all because of genotype issue? So it is expected that couples, before getting married, should know their genotype so as to avoid all these genotype compatibility. Now look at what's Precious the fruitless. So for you to have a happy marriage, you must have a healthy children. If you don't have a healthy children, it will affect you till eternity. Yeah. So the topic of genotype compatibility for marriage is very, very vital all over the world. It is a crucial topic that requires understanding and consideration. And not just that alone, it holds significant importance in marriages as it directly impacts the health and well-being of the couple and their future children. Now I am seeing Untouchable story saying, Precious, don't worry, I will still fulfill my promise. I will marry you. How can you tell a girl that you marry her when you know that both of you are not meant to be together in terms of health? Do you want to bring children to this world and, suffer them? I heard some people saying you can still marry and give birth to healthy children through IVF. I know of a doctor, this and that, that and this. My dear, it is better you run away from problem than seeking for solution for the problem in which you know that we occur and you put yourself inside that problem. What is genotype? If you don't know about it, open your ear very well and listen. Genotype refers to the genetic makeup of an individual. It is represented by a combination of alleles inherited from both parents. Genotype determines various physical and chemical traits of an organism. It plays a role in the inheritance of certain diseases and conditions. Genotype is crucial in understanding genetic compatibility for marriage. Now, the significance of genotype in genetics. Importance are: 1. Genotypes help scientists study the inheritance patterns of genes and traits. It aids in understanding the risk of developing certain genetic disorders. Genotype influences the likelihood of passing on genetic traits to offspring. Knowledge of genotype allows for genetic counseling before marriage or pregnancy. It facilitates genetic screening and selective breeding in agriculture and animal husbandry. Inheritance of traits and diseases. Genotype determines the expression of physical traits such as eye color, and height. It also affects the predisposition to various diseases and disorders. Sometimes, a single gene can contribute to the development of a disease. Other times, multiple genes interact to influence the risk of disease. Genotype can influence the severity and progression of certain conditions. So now, it is most common genotypes in Nigeria, as we all know, and everywhere, is AA, AS, and SS. AA represents individuals with 2 normal copies of the hemoglobin gene. People with AA genotype have a low risk of sickle cell disease. AS represents individuals who carry a single copy of the sickle cell gene. And AS genotype individuals are carriers of sickle cell traits, but usually have no symptoms. Remember that Untouchable Comedy and Precious the Fruit Seller, both of them are AS. So SS represents individuals with 2 copies. SS represents individuals with 2 copies of the sickle cell gene. And SS genotype individuals have sickle cell disease, which can cause serious health complications. My country people. So now, transform your marriage starting now. How do you want to plan your marriage? Do you want to suffer your future children? Do you want your children to have a very healthy, lifestyle? So understanding genotype compatibility for marriage involves acknowledging the prevalence of sickle cell disease. So it is better you make your wise choice before you venture into any marriage, before planning to marry that your future spouse. If you don't know your genotype, it is very advisable and it's very relevant and vital for you to go to hospital to do your genotype test. And not just in one hospital, but go to different hospitals so that you can identify if you are an AS, an SS, or an AA. Try to know your genotype today. Educate yourself so as not to implicate or put your future children's lives in danger. Not just that alone, genotype can make your children to undergrow. Not just undergrowing, it can make their stomach to protrupt. The stomach will just come out and say that this child has too much stomach. You can make your child looks pale. Always you keep spending money, changing blood on the child. Is that what you want? What if eventually the sickness comes, maybe when you don't have money, and the child requires blood transfusion? How are you going to cope with it? Advise yourself today. Don't make the mistake that some parents made in the past. Don't put your children's life in danger just because of love. Love is not enough in marriage. Healthy marriage matters a lot. Love, money is not enough in marriage. You can have money but doesn't have healthy children. How are you going to fight for it? How are you going to do it? Would you prefer wasting your money always carrying your child from one hospital to the other just because you have money? You cannot buy love with money. And love cannot overshadow money. Neither can money overshadow love. But make sure that in any way you want to have your couple, make sure you are having a couple that is not compatible in terms of genotype. It is very, very important. So genetics plays a very vital role when it comes to both relationship and marriage. Why we are talking about relationship is that some people can be in a relationship, a man and a woman can be in a relationship, and tomorrow they might get pregnant. Yes, in the doings, the girl can conceive. And if it happens that both of them are SS, the child might be infected with sickle cell. It is very vital to play with intelligence in whatever thing you are doing when it has to do with sexual intercourse with either your spouse or someone you intended to marry in the future. It plays a vital role. So don't be like some people. Few weeks ago, it was posted on the social media app that a young Nigerian man got married to a girl, and then he discovered that the girl and him are not compatible for marriage. So their genotype, the genotype compatibility now brought a problem in the marriage, which led to split in the marriage. He divorced the wife simply because he is SS and the wife is AS, which could it may affect the children, that is their future children. It is better and advisable for you as an SS person, genotype person, to marry an AA person, so that there will be minimal or no, percentage of effect on your future children. But whereby you as an AS went ahead and married an SL because of simply say you are loved or because of money, your future children life are at risk of being sickle cell. So advise yourself now. Don't do like Precious, the fruit seller and Untouchable story. Be Untouchable comedies. Trying to, they want to mago, they want to overshadow health and do whatever they want to do. Advise yourself now. There is still time. Don't go to do that others have done. Be careful. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. Don't say you are not informed. Christy TV informed you earlier on. You have your phone. You can go online, browse about all this. Simple knowledges about marriages. What needs to be done before venturing into marriage. Educate yourself and equip yourself as well, so as not to endanger your life, the life of your spouse, and that of your future children. They are very relevant. A healthy marriage is also a happy home. When your marriage is not healthy, remember that marriage involves husband, wife, and their children. So you don't exclude children when you're talking about marriage. You only talk about spouse, which is only you and your husband. But when you talk about marriage, it involves everything that is inside the marriage. Things that come and comes out after the marriage, including your children, makes a happy home. So educate yourself now. Don't say that you are not informed though. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Turn on the notification button so you get notified of all latest Nigerian news. I love you guys.